Hey, does anybody know who Damage beat the first game that they played? X Factor?
All right, here we go. Second to last game of the day. We are about to watch Tampa Bay Damage, and they are taking on Chicago Aftershock. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Justin Rabikoff from Boston Red Legion, one of the best players in the game. So, Justin, what do you think about this matchup?
It's going to be it's going to be a real good matchup but Aftershock lost in overtime to Vicious, and then Damage beat X Factor in overtime. So I mean, and Aftershock coming right out and getting a penalty. So and we've seen them do that a lot in these past games. They've been getting penalties and it's been hurting them, and now Damage is running through on them.
Oh wow, look at that. Damage running all the way to the 30-yard line. Dorito was Chad Boussiere. And I'll tell you what, we were talking earlier.
Oh no.
Wow.
He has no idea. His coach didn't even tell him, and he just gets shot.
So Tampa
stupidly.
Bay just running their desk. It was 3-on-1. So we had a 3-on-1 situation, but Aftershock, I'm not sure who that is over there for Aftershock, but just wheeling and dealing out some punishment to the Tampa Bay Damage players just running to their deaths.
And Damage just not being smart on closing out this game because they had no idea where that guy was.
And I understand wanting to come out and start it up right away on the right tone, but you know, you really have got to at least, especially if you're getting a lot of G's, you're getting a lot of kills, slow it down enough to figure out what's going on in the game.
And in this one-on-one right now, I'm taking Brian Smith in this one-on-one 100%. I played with Brian Smith, and
he's phenomenal.
Oh man, he's one of the best in the game, and I truly believe that. As playing with him, and playing against him, he is a great player, and he's very methodical.
He is. He's very aggressive. He's one of those rare combinations of methodical aggression.
Yeah.
Which is very rare, honestly. And there's not a lot of guys that have that.
And he has a phenomenal shot. I love watching him play. He's one of the most exciting players to play. And he's kind of underrated. Most people don't know who he is except like the pro guys. All the pro guys know he's great, but it seems like all these other people and players really don't know who Brian Smith is.
I think he's a quiet guy off the field, not super nice guy, but real quiet, and he doesn't hype himself up, doesn't talk about himself.
Right.
He's not a guy who's been in a lot of videos, and then I think because of that, he hasn't really had his star shine as bright as it could.
Yeah. Oh, and Monville makes it out. And now it's a 2-on-1.
I'm surprised Smith wasn't able to get himself. Oh, he was. There he goes.
Oh, no, he shoots him. See, great shot by Brian Smith shooting Monville out of the back center. And now it's a 1-on-1 again. And if he's smart, his coach will tell him, because that flag is in a position where he can get it and score it without even having to shoot this guy. Because he doesn't have to run in the middle of the field to get the flag. It's just sitting right there behind the tower.
And he's using the whole snake right now. This is actually a great spot if you're in a one-on-one. Yeah, if you're in a one-on-one, it's not a bad. Normally, the snake's the worst place to be.
Yeah, you never want to be on your knees in a one-on-one for players out there.
Yeah.
In a one-on-one situation, you never want to be on your knees, never with your head down.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you lose that guy, especially with no coaching on the Dorito side, you lose that guy, you're done.
Yeah.
If he's a great player, he'll capitalize and he'll win that one-on-one.
So, see the refs getting the flag back on the stand. That's good. And yeah, Smith's got to know that too. I mean, he knows. He's a very smart player, so he's going to basically battle until he can get himself in position.
And Brian Smith can really use these pins on bounce shotting on this Dorito, because he really can't hide behind it. And if he plays the bounce shot off these pins, I really think that he can shoot this 50 Dorito guy. That's one thing that the Russian Legion does. We actually practice bounce shots on players.
Oh, you guys do great bounce shots.
Practice.
I remember there'd be a couple tournaments where guys would be like, "Do we play the Russians? I have absolutely no idea how I got shot. It bounced off something. I still haven't figured it out." Stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now, Brian Smith, do you see any pods on his back? I think he's got a pod. No?
Looks like he's got one pod.
It's hard to tell with the way the packs are designed these days.
No, it might even he's got 3 pods.
Yeah, he's good to go.
No, he has one pod. One pod left. We can't from here. We can't see how many pods, or even if the Aftershock player has any paint left, because he's not really playing Brian too much. He's just kind of sitting there.
And as you know, if you're out there and you're listening, and you want to know how to play a one-on-one, you will be able to feel how much paint the other player has by how much paint is being thrown back at you. If the guy's coming out and gunfighting with you and he's throwing out long bursts, you know he's got a couple pods. If he's just dinking you, well, he's probably down to his last hopper.
Well, and that's what Brian's doing. He's just one-balling, just throwing one ball at the Aftershock player, knowing that he has one pod left. And now Brian is going to play the flag, and he's not even going to try and mess with him.
Okay, but it's like, okay, now's when you try to make a move for the flag, because now it's opened up a little bit.
That was a really bad move.
Yeah, I wouldn't have done that.
From the Aftershock player, because now he can't protect the flag. And from here, he loaded his. It looks like the Aftershock player loaded his last pod. I could be wrong. But he's not really ripping his gun. He's not really shooting too much. He's kind of feeling Brian out. But Brian should be playing the flag right now, because the Aftershock player is in a very bad position to control the flag and control the game, because if Brian gets that flag, it's game over for Aftershock.
I'm interested to see how this is going to break out. I wonder what the next move for Chicago, for Aftershock players. I wish I could tell who that was, but Smith, he's very smart and methodical in here. And you notice how he's not really trying to engage in that gun. Actually, neither player. They're both playing it pretty smart. Neither player is trying to actively engage in that gunfight.
And if they're not going to do that though, then one of them needs to get close.
Yeah, that's the thing. Because to make that cross-field snapshot's a real far snapshot to make. I mean, you can see the guy shoot at you and dodge that paintball from that far away.
And in this situation, it seems like both players are down to their last pod or even their last hopper. You have to play the flag in this situation.
Absolutely.
Oh, that would have been a great shot. Went right over his head.
There's really so much for Smith to work with. Now he's down to his he's getting down.
Looks like Brian has no more paint. And
the shock player's got to not have, because he hasn't shot a paintball in a minute.
He's just sitting there.
He hasn't shot a paintball in a minute.
And I think Brian finally realizes that. And now Brian's going to get close. And they're both just one-balling.
Yeah, tense moments right here.
As
you see Smith, he closed the distance like you were saying, because when you're down to really low on paint, you have to close the distance. You don't have a lot of paint. If the guy gets crazy and he makes a move, you have to be in position to be able to get that shot on his back. And if you expend your last 10 balls trying to shoot at a guy streaking cross field and he's 85 feet away from you, it's really hard to do to get that accurate shot on.
Yep.
There's not really a lot of moves for the Aftershock player right now, unless he dips to one of those pins. But then again, Smith also doesn't. Well, Smith could actually close the distance even further if he wanted to go to that next one.
Yeah, and I think that's what he should do, especially at this point. They both have no paint. From here, it seems like the Aftershock has no paint. We know Brian has no paint. He's down to his last hopper, or even
maybe his last couple balls.
Brian needs to close the gap and get close, because he has a phenomenal shot, and I think that if he gets closer, he's going to get this Aftershock guy.
It's interesting too, because if you play this one-on-one with absolutely no crowd and no one yelling, it's a whole different game.
Yeah.
But anytime, even with not being able to get coached from the pit, you're still going to hear the crowd rise up. The volume level is going to rise anytime a move is made. So that's almost how, that's how he knew that Smith made the move.
Yeah.
It's because he heard that slight rise in the crowd, even though really probably from that far away he's not be able to hear exactly where he went. But he knew, okay, well, he's moving somewhere. Where would he logically go? Oh, okay, he'd go here.
Well, now that I think about it, I think what he tried to do is move to his. Oh no, because you can't coach from the pit.
Yeah.
He can't coach from the pit, so I really don't know what he was thinking about.
By closing the distance from that angle.
Yeah.
Because honestly, the more logical choice probably would have been to cut into the A and get that flag, because then at least he has the flag. But instead, you know what I'm saying? Like if he had just cut in here,
right,
and probably could have made that gap. I know there is a gap that he could be shot, so that was. It's just a tough position. This is oh, here he goes.
And he gets in.
Wow.
He just goes in and bunkers him.
Puts a clinic on. And that's the no coaching on the pit side. How awesome is that? No coaching on the pit side, and you let a really great player make a great move.
Yep. Nice
job by Brian Smith to polish it off. Long point. I mean, that was 9 minute 30
second
Wow.
point. That was a very long, drawn out, even long one-on-one.
Yeah. Well, nice job by Brian Smith. So after an incredibly long point, he's
not coming out after that one.
Yeah. 1-0, Tampa Bay Damage with the advantage. Well, and on Aftershock's side, at least in this situation, with that much time expiring, it's not that big of a deal. All you really did was just make the game a lot shorter. So we're going to see relatively low-scoring game because you just took half of the game time off in one point.
This will go to time. You won't even see it.
Guaranteed it's going to go to time.
Especially with a team like Damage, they love to sit in the back. They love to shoot their guns. They're a good team. They're a team that likes to shoot a lot of guns on the break, a lot of guns up.
All right, we got a replay. Let's check it out. Maybe on the next one. So 47 seconds left to go.
But as I was saying, Damage is the team that likes to sit in the back. They like to shoot their guns because that's what they're good at. I mean, you got to play what you're good at and what your team's good at. And, hopefully you can beat the other team doing what your team is best at.
Yeah,
and they're good at shooting people on the break.
With Smith, it's like, I remember there's a couple tournaments, it was maybe 2 years ago now, where he kind of really put his mark on the sport, where he was just destroying people on the snake side of the field for a while. And I think that, Tampa Bay, which actually I like to see because they have a lot of strange guys on the team, but they've become a very aggressive team over the years.
Yeah.
They used to be well, it's not really that strange because they have all of the most aggressive strange players on their team. So good breakout from Damage, able to keep, oh no, but then Holiday catches the ball in that back, or El Yusuf catches the corner in that back corner.
And it's a 4-on-4 game right here. Both teams losing one body fairly quickly.
Yeah, so it's all evened up right now, 4 bodies each.
Both teams just trying to control the game. Everybody's sitting back, and like I was saying before, that's the Damage bread and butter. They like to sit in the back. They like to control the game, control the tempo, and shoot their guns, and talk to each other.
Ooh, and Aftershock loses another player out of that back corner. Ahead. And you're looking right now, Damage on the screen. That back
Timmy
snake
Prox.
corner. Timmy trying to enable himself to move up the field. And they're making some good movements on the Dorito side of the field and trying to get to that 50-yard line bunker.
And both teams matched up on the Dorito side with a 2-on-2 situation. With Aftershock lone guy in the snake corner, and Timmy finally makes that move to the snake. And Damage is now in the 50 Dorito as well. So it looks like Damage is finally going to capitalize on the situation with Aftershock only being in the back bunkers.
And now Timmy making a move into Snake 1. And here comes Carthy making a move to back him up. Carthy making a move to that back corner bunker. And you can see on your screen, Timmy there, the first notch of the snake. He's trying to get crossfield shots on Dorito 1. Oh, look at this big move by Holiday. Holiday wheeling and dealing, taking out the first guy. Tried to get the second, but he didn't make it. But looks like Aftershock, the last Aftershock player got clipped. And
I think Timmy might have shot him across field.
And those are the good things that come when you make those aggressive moves.
People
and
turn
you start
their
shooting
guns.
hoppers.
Yeah,
people turn their guns. Nicking goggles and hoppers. So nice job in kind of a mellow game so far, but a good game for Tampa Bay as they go up 2-0. And Shock has got to be frustrated. I mean, they lost earlier to Vicious, and now they're down 2-0 against Tampa Bay Damage, coming off a second-place finish in the World Cup, where they played phenomenal until they got to you guys. But it's just, and I talked to Nick earlier, and I think mentally the team is, or at least they're saying the right things to me as far as what they should be thinking.
Right.
I don't know what the missing link is for them right now, because it's just, they seem kind of down too,
Yeah,
they don't really seem very up.
They lost a lot of their you know, their vets to Impact. So, you know, it's almost a brand new team, what we're looking at in the Aftershock guys. You know, they have Crystal Soya, you know, they have, you know, Nick Soyak, but they do have a lot of brand new guys. And even Lawhead, I think this is only his second year playing pro, so he's still a new player playing on the Snake side, and I think last year is his first year. So they're still a very young team, and it's almost like they're rebuilding again. They tried to rebuild last year, bringing, you know, the Philly American guys after they split up, and then, you know, the Philly guys went to Impact, and now they have to rebuild once again.
So how long of a meeting are you guys going to have tonight?
Honestly,
3-4 hours?
Usually they're long because we have to watch, you know, video. We have to watch our games, but it doesn't look like they're videotaping. Maybe they took that out where nobody can videotape. I don't know, but it doesn't look like we're videotaping games. Yeah, we're not videotaping games, so we don't have to watch, you know, video, which we usually do every tournament, and that's what makes our meetings so long. But we're coming on to the 5-second mark, and
all right, let's see what type of breakout we have here from both teams. And aggressive breakout from Aftershock as they're trying to take the 30-yard line Dorito and the back corner on the Snake side. It looks like they made it out to both of those bunkers.
A lot of big moves and damage with a lot of guns up, trying to shoot those cross shots, but it doesn't work out for them. They, you know, Aftershock makes the corner and the 30-yard line Dorito.
Yeah, and damage getting shot trying to make it out to the back corner here on the Snake side.
And damage just crossed up in the middle.
Damage heavy in the center.
Just really
at this point.
Trying to control the field, and that's what they're doing. You know, Monville tried to make that move to the Snake and didn't even realize that, you know, the guy on the Dorito side was shooting cross, and he just chopped him up.
Chad Bucer on the Dorito side for Tampa Bay Damage, and he's going to try to wrap around and get into that 50-yard line Dorito. And you're looking at Crystal Soya there in the center of your screen, and he is shooting at that Dorito side of the field, trying to keep Chad, and he's got an angle right now. So, but now he switched over. Let's see if Chad picks it up. Yeah, look, Chad's popping over the top of that bunker. Crystal Soya now back on the Dorito side. Chris is doing a good job of keeping he's going back and forth. You know, a lot of times if you want to learn how to hold a lane down, you can be shooting out a lane, quickly head check the opposite side of the field, and still stay on that side of the field. You don't have to pull your gun off the lane.
And he did it perfectly. He looked and he saw that Dave made the move out to the corner, and now he tucked in a little further, trying to just save his life out there. So it was a good head check, but while he was still shooting his gun at the Dorito side.
It's tough though. That spot gets real small as the field gets spread.
Exactly. And I think one of these damage guys either needs to move back and spread the field, the guys in the center, or they need to make that move up to the A.
And Chris is just trying to get as small as he possibly can in that bunker.
I think that Chris should just play the Dorito side. He really should.
He should, and just live by his gun over there. And that's when the Lawhead gets shot. Lawhead's struggling over here.
He has been struggling a lot today.
And you can see it. I mean, look at his body language when he came off. He's just hanging his head very down, frustrated with himself. And now Chad, like we were saying, if Chris doesn't live by his gun, that might get a penalty.
And they blow the horn, and Damage goes up 3-0.
Damage is playing solid. They're playing they're really not making mistakes.
No, not at all.
They're not making mistakes. I mean, they've lost some bodies, and you know they're losing some. They lost a guy on the break trying to get out to the corner, but at the same time, they're not making mistakes. And I think that Aftershock is kind of a little out of it right now.
Yeah.
I think that loss to Vicious might have taken some wind out of the sails coming into the event.
And yeah, when you lose to a team, especially like Vicious, who doesn't win a lot of matches, it's kind of it hits the morale of the team pretty hard, especially when you lose in overtime against a team, you know, like that as well. It does hurt the morale of the team, and it's almost like, you know, well, what do we do now?
Yeah. Yeah, never at any point do the words do you want to think, what do we do now?
Yeah.
Oh, God, what do we do now? You don't ever want to think that.
It almost seems like Aftershock, that's what's going through their head. You see these people getting shot and just hanging their heads on the ground, like not even know what to do.
That was my biggest pet peeve. Anytime I was on a team and in a leadership role, I would really get frustrated with the younger guys when they would get shot and hang their head and walk off. It's like, look, man, don't do that. It gets yourself more down. It gets the team down. It doesn't give me any confidence in you that you're going to go out there and play another solid point after this.
When I don't have confidence in a teammate, it almost brings my confidence down because I have to worry about, hey, is he going to go out there not thinking that he can actually play the paintball that he should be playing?
Yep.
Why do I have to worry about him when I should just be worrying about myself and myself only?
It's infectious.
Yeah,
that doubt is infectious, and you really can't let doubts set in. I don't care if it's 6-0. You fake it till you got it, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean,
and that virus, it spreads quickly throughout a team, especially when you see people hanging their head almost like they've given up.
Yeah, all right, so let's see if Aftershock can get something going here. And they lose, I think that's Sosine trying to make it up the break, or make it up into the center. Temple off the break, he gets shot. They still have 4 alive. They're doubling up that back center.
Both teams losing bodies on the break, and Aftershock makes a big move to the 50 Dorito. But Aftershock every game has lost a body on the break.
Yep.
So far in these past 4 games, they've lost a body, no matter on the Dorito side or the Snake side. They've dropped 1 body on the break, and that's what Damage is really good at, is shooting people on the break.
Well, they were playing aggressive down this Dorito side. Aftershock coming and trading out, so clearing out that Dorito side. There's no one over there. But they got Mike Carthy in the back center for Damage, and
it just looks like a 3-on-1, and it looks like just Mike Carthy left back in the back center for Damage.
Yeah, and this is when, because we are starting to have time issues, it's less than 5 minutes to play, 4:27 left on the clock, and this is when you really want to start getting, and they took Carthy out, so they need to run in there and serve the time. This is when communication needs to come in. Somebody needs to start talking.
It doesn't look like Damage has another player, but they're still shooting at bunkers, not aware of what's going on. Their coach should be telling this Snake guy.
There's got to be somebody on this entire sideline should be screaming right now that's an Aftershock fan, at least.
And they're all head checking, trying to look for the guy, and there's nobody there. And now finally a guy runs through and bunkers nobody. And they're just wasting time.
So they wasted about a whole minute. Yeah.
A full minute just shooting at nobody left on the field because they lack the communication that needs to be had on the field.
Yeah, and that's what we talked about. The communication is an element. I mean, I didn't even hear any of them talking.
No, not even talking amongst each other. And I didn't even hear anybody on the sidelines trying to talk to them.
Yeah. And that's really kind of random that you want, with the way the rules are, you want to have one loud person on this side, at least for this specific situation.
Yeah.
Because they just wasted a minute, so the game is still very close. Especially that they won. That was a huge point for them. They needed that point. I mean, it's the first point that they've won the entire match. But that was big because now you're looking at a 2-point match with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left to go. Manageable.
Yeah, definitely manageable. They can come back, and as long as they stay out of the penalty box, and that point was huge for them, and that'll maybe, hopefully, bring them back a little bit. I don't want to see Damages, smash them point after point.
Looking at shots of the crowd now. Actually, pretty decent crowd showed up to, well, it's great weather, too.
Yeah, it is phenomenal weather.
Beautiful weather here down in Galveston, Texas. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm up here with Justin Rabakoff from Boston Red Legion. You are watching Chicago Aftershock taking on Tampa Bay Damage. And it looks like Shock calls a timeout. That's a smart timeout.
Yeah, try to get keep a level head.
To keep a level head, they need to get a good game plan coming out because they've had some issues with keeping guys alive, and this is kind of a good time. Now you get that extra time to be like, all right, hey, you're not making your spot. Why?
Yeah, what do you need from us to help you to make your spot? And that's what the team needs to do to, bring their guy back up, because it seems Lawhead is really struggling over here, and they need to go to him and be like, what do you need?
Yep.
What do we need to do to help you so you can stay alive and play paintball like we know how you should play.
And that's almost where sometimes, if as a coach, if you got a guy struggling, it's like, all right, pick a bunker on that side. What can you make?
Yeah.
Go to that bunker. I need you to get in the snake. How can you do that? You know, I think you can do it this way, but it hasn't been working because I've been sending you to do it out, and you haven't been getting the job done.
And
so, what do we need to get you into the snake? What do we need to do?
Exactly. Or just stay alive in general on the break. And it seems like, but like we were saying before, Damage is very good at shooting people on the break. You have to be aware for that. You have to plan for that, and you need to play for that. Because if you don't, then Damage is one of those teams that will just shoot you out all day.
Yeah,
and capitalize on it. And that's what they're known for.
And they're a hard team to come to push into.
Exactly.
Hard team to push into. So we got about a minute and 10 seconds left to go. Got ourselves a 2-point game here, 3-1. But even though it's still close, it's been all Damage.
Oh yeah.
I mean, that was the first point that was scored.
Yeah, because the first point was a 9-minute and 30-second game.
An epic one-on-one battle. All right, well, this is good to see. See, Aftershock, they're giving some high fives. You can see their body language is a little bit more dominant. Yeah, they're a little up tempo.
Trying to figure it out amongst themselves, and that's what you want to see within a team, especially a young team like this. You don't want to see them go straight down in the dirt because they're not out of this. This is a 3-1 game with 3 minutes and 44 seconds left. They're definitely not out of it, and they can bring it back.
Absolutely. Yeah, there's tons. I mean, there's not tons of time, but there is definitely enough time with 3 minutes and 44 seconds on the clock in order for them to win this game.
To win the game,
and definitely to tie it up
and
send us to another sudden death overtime.
Yeah.
I think we might set a record for this event.
It's definitely a possibility.
Yeah.
We might have been even close on the first day of the tournament.
All right, let's see what type of breakout Shock gets as they streak out. Pretty aggressive breakout, and they lose 2 off the break. And Lawhead, they couldn't even get Lawhead out to the little A.
Yeah.
Alive.
Yeah, they're trying to figure out anything that Lawhead can do. It's almost at this point, do we want to take him out of the game because he might be hurting the team at this point?
Yeah,
he's not even making these close bunkers next to the breakout.
He's doing the slow walk off too.
Yeah, slow walk, just
head down, slow walk, not making a spot. It's not looking good right now for Chicago Aftershock as the rest of them get polished off. Dave Baines finishing off the last player. And the score is going to go to 4-1. And though there's still 3 minutes left, so feasibly Aftershock could get back in this match. It just doesn't look like they have the heart in it right now.
Yeah, like you said, this game has been all Damage, and it's almost like Aftershock has nothing left to do. It's been all Damage all game. They're just running down, shooting people on the break, and capitalizing on the situation, and that's what you want to see with any team out here. That if you can shoot a player on the break and then capitalize on that, you're going to win every single point. And one thing Damage isn't doing is they're not getting shot behind the bunkers.
No,
they're staying alive. They're playing methodical paintball. They're talking, and they're just shooting their guns, controlling the game.
And I'll tell you what, we're starting to see, as the tournament has progressed, we're starting to see guys get shot off the break.
Yep.
And it's this morning, not a lot of guys were getting shot off the break, at least consistently. But right now, in this past couple matches, I think people are starting to figure those shots out.
And yeah, that's where you're going to see a lot of quick points come into play. Because if you can shoot a side out, and that's what Damage did. They shot both the Snake players and a Dorito player on the break. They shot 3 guys on the break, and then they were just running down the field. You saw Dave run up the center and finish off the last player.
I would sit Lawhead at this point. Well, you could kind of argue it both ways. One way, you could say, hey, look, or if I didn't sit him, I'd pull him aside and say, I'd try to get him out of the funk and say, look, man, it doesn't matter if you've been shot all the times that you have so far this game.
And now
we're down by 3. We got 3 minutes left. Try to go out there and make it happen. But if they have somebody else that's just jonesing to play over there, that just is like really going to will him. Yeah, send him out there, man. See what he can do. There's nothing to lose at this point. I mean, it's not like you're in the driver's seat. I mean, they've scored 1 point in the entire match.
Yeah.
And referee is about to call a major penalty.
Major penalty? Yep, it's a major. And they pull him.
So major penalty. This definitely could help out Aftershock if they can get a really quick point on the board here.
That's what they need to do.
Though damage is spread out the field, so they got a pretty good cross that potentially could get going on.
And that's what damage is known for, is just, you know, digging in. They can dig in and they can grind this penalty out if they really, you know, if they play it smart, they can grind this out. I could actually see this. I can see the penalty guy coming out.
I can see the penalty guy coming out for sure too. We got 2 minutes left here, so let's see how good damage is going to be at grinding this off. Well, they have 3 bodies left alive too. I mean, they have a player in the Dorito.
It's a 3-on-3. It's a 3-on-3, and damage has key bunkers that they can just sit and control the game. They have that Dorito, the back right and the back left, and Monville is over here by himself.
Yep.
So he can't really do too much because he doesn't have a back player, and there's 2 guns on him. He has the back left and the back right just posted on him.
And I think you're right, and I think that there's a very good chance that this is going to be the last point of the game, because I mean, if you look, it's 3-on-3. They're going to get the player out of the penalty box here in 40 seconds, and though that was definitely a terrible time to get a major, it wasn't necessarily that bad because Aftershock wasn't in position.
This will be the last point of the game. And they shoot Monville, and
just about 1 minute left to play here. And Damage pushing into him. Damage wants this last point. They want that point spread.
Yeah, you have to go for the point spread, especially with these games, because 3 teams can be 3-1. But only 2 of them from each bracket go on.
Yep.
You can have a 3-way tie, but only 2 teams go on. You can have 3 wins and still not make it to Sunday.
Which is crazy to think about.
Yeah, so the point spread, especially in this tournament, because it's only top 4 that go on. For the people out there that don't know that, for this event, it's only the top 4 go on. It's 2 from each bracket. So the point spread is very crucial in all of these games, so you almost want to be running down and getting as many points as you can, almost, you know, running up the score, if you will. Well,
you guys had a mental error as far as that was concerned at the end of your game.
Yeah, that's what I heard. I mean, I guess I wasn't really paying attention. I knew that we won the game, we beat Dynasty, but I guess we didn't close.
You didn't close that last point out.
Yeah, we didn't hang the flag. I guess we were standing around.
Everyone was just kind of standing around checking each other.
You know, that could hurt us because we lost in overtime. So that would only put us at a +2 margin. So we could be one of those teams, even if we win. If there's a 3-way tie tomorrow, we'd have to win big tomorrow. We have to win big, or that could have hurt our chances.
Which is weird because you don't really see lapses of paintball judgment like that coming from you guys. You're normally good at crossing your T's and dotting your I's.
Yeah.
All right, so the score is 5-1. We have 42 seconds left to play. And it just does not look good for Aftershock. Aftershock has not had a good day. They lost to Vicious earlier. Again, they're coming off that 2nd place finish at World Cup, and they've just looked flat this whole game. That first one-on-one just, you know, it was a good point, and then after that, it's just been all Tampa Bay Damage. Tampa Bay, on the flip side, they've looked great. Tampa Bay's doing everything right, and the only thing they haven't done right was that major penalty. They got that last point, but that didn't even matter.
Yeah, they still won. They grinded it out, and they finished out the point. And this match has been all Damage across the board.
All right, let's see on the breakout. Looking at Tampa Bay Damage on the screen, screaming out to the bunker, back bunker on the snake side, and Monville having a hard time. They're trying to play aggressive and get out there. I mean, at this point, yeah, you know what? Just try something.
Yeah,
get aggressive. It doesn't even matter.
You don't have a choice. It's 5-1, 30
doesn't even matter.
You
yeah.
gotta do something.
And they're able to get some guys alive and start chopping up bodies. Still alive in the center. Here comes Aftershock.
This is a bad move right here. Not even realizing, just stutter stepping out there.
Wow, that was Rittenhouse.
And he still gets him, even though he was shot all the way through. There wasn't a ref on him.
He was shot the whole way through?
The back right was just looking at the snake the whole time. Chopped him up the whole way, and he kept running. I'm surprised they did not pull a penalty on that.
And AJ Lawhead in here, finally having a good point.
Oh, but this game, they don't even get the point.
At least that's good to see. if I was a coach, if I was Jeremy Somm, yeah, look at the
Lawhead just frustrated.
He's throws a pod. You can just see he's just super frustrated right now. I mean, look at the dejected look.
Just head
in his
down,
body
already
language.
has his barrel cover on, just
yeah,
ripping his pack off. He's at a loss for words for himself and for his team. You know, he couldn't get anything done in this game. Just really struggled. Couldn't make it out anywhere. He finally, you know, got in this snake this last game, but you know that doesn't help when you're down 5-1.
No, it doesn't. So, congratulations to Tampa Bay Damage, playing a near flawless game. Only criticism would be that major penalty towards the end, but even then, didn't even matter. And Aftershock is going to have to go back to the drawing board, figure out and try to rekindle the magic that they had from World Cup where they took second place. I'm Matty Marshall. I'm here with Justin Rabakoff, and you are watching the 2011 PSP event here in Galveston, Texas.